To delegate is not to do as much as you can do and then give the rest away, but to delegate is to do what you should be doing.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Castleview, for joining this week's episode of the Castleview Baptist Church podcast. And I'm actually on location. Obviously, you can tell that right now. I'm in Pensacola, Florida. I've had the privilege this week to be able to address the students at Pensacola Christian College. And this is a super special treat for me and for you, our audience. I'm joined today by the president of Pensacola Christian College, Dr. Troy Shoemaker. Thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
Weren't sure we were going to be able to do this. Not everybody gets to come up in your office and sit down and have a conversation like this, but I really appreciate you taking the time. Wanted to find out for just a minute, you've got quite a history here. Tell us, where are you from and how did you even get connected with the college? You were a student years ago.
I was.
Yeah.
I came in 1984 as a freshman to study science and math education, and that from Indiana.
From Indiana,
where
okay.
I grew up.
Okay.
And Mom and Dad had put us in a Christian school all of our lives as kids, and it was the natural thing. Back in the 80s, it was this natural thing in the church circles that I was part of. Pastors encouraged students to continue your Christian education that you got in high school on into college. So many of my classmates had gone ahead of me and had come to PCC and other Christian colleges. So to me, it was a natural move from Indiana to go off to a Christian college.
Yeah. Did you ever go back to Indiana? Did you stay here after that?
No, in fact, the joke in our family is Mom and Dad, the week after I left home, moved. And so I found them at Christmas time, but but they had moved, and so we just never were back in Indiana after that.
Yeah. That was a unique time for Pensacola.
It was.
It really was. I mean, I guess when you got here, the college would have been, what, 11? 10 years old when you came? What were the differences between 1984-ish, 1983, 84 to 2025?
Well, goodness, this is going to take your entire time if we talk about
Highlight.
Yeah. Well, big differences was, first of all, size.
Yeah.
At 10 years of age, the college was still coming into itself. So we had probably 1,800 students at the time, where you have over 4,000 now.
Wow.
And a fewer majors, less developed in terms of facilities and architecture and so forth. So a lot of, back in the 80s, a lot of shared space. The academy, which had preceded the college here, was 30 years old at that time. And so it was the big part of the institution. And so the college would go over and share space with the high school, chapel in the gym and that kind of stuff. So the facilities were smaller, and we didn't know any better as students. We thought this was the way college was.
Sure.
So obviously now to have self-contained and self-sustained college campus with state-of-the-art facilities and many more majors. And
Yes.
so you see that growth in maturity over.
Yeah. I came in 91 and I felt like, wow, 91, what a beautiful campus. I mean, this is, 8, 9 years after you had come. And there were a lot of newer things since when you first got here at that point, of course. But even then, that self-sustained campus, I totally see. You don't have to go anywhere, right? You could be right here on campus. You've got Sports 93. They open up the Sports Center over there. Now they've got the Sports Center Annex. And so you've got, anything from bowling to basketball, the stadiums, the sports. I mean, there's so many incredible things to be able to be a part of. That would be unique in most colleges. Usually you've got to go off campus to be able to enjoy all of that.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Student can come and doesn't have to have a vehicle. Necessarily doesn't have to have outside. When you come, you can very comfortably stay a whole semester and not have to do or be dependent on other things.
Sure. One of the things I would say is, as different as things are from those early days, there are a lot of things that have never changed. And I loved, I've been here all week long. I felt like when I got here as a student, the spirit on campus was so alive, that there was a great energy here. The students and the faculty work really hard. Chapel, there's a great spirit as far as a spiritual side of things as well. And you all really have continued that throughout the years as well.
Yes. One of the things that we appreciated as students was daily chapel. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
We all go to church here at the campus church, so affiliated with the college. We participate in Christian service into the community, so great engagement. Those were all things that when we were students were very real parts of our student life, and they still are today. And it's more than just tradition. I mean, it is the very heart, the mission of this place.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's a great thing not to have lost
Sure.
over the decades.
I want to drill down on that for just a minute because I think that is the gifting that you have. But by the way, you've been the president for how long now? You tell us even before that, because you stayed here. What was your first role at Pensacola right after college?
So graduated in 1989. Had met my wife a few months previously, and we found out that in common, we had both signed contracts to stay and work here in the ministry after our graduation. And so she would work in the offices, and I would work over at the academy teaching science and math. And so that was our first positions.
Yeah.
And we got married and stayed, and for whatever reason, God just never called us anywhere else. So for 36 years now, we've served here. She's grown up professionally, as I have too, in the ministry here. But she's grown up through the offices and serving in various capacities. I worked at the academy and then ultimately became the principal and the administrator over the whole academy. So that was my early professional life, and then came over here to the college, was asked to be dean of graduate studies, and then ultimately academic vice president. And then when Dr. and Mrs. Horton retired in 2012, they asked me, previous to that, would I step into his office.
Never thought, I would imagine you never saw that coming, leaving Indiana to come here in the mid 80s.
I didn't see it coming when it came. I mean, everywhere, this is an amazing thing, and you'll probably attest to this, that wherever God's got you, right then you think, well, this is where he's got me.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I would teach science and math the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then I thought I would be administrator the rest of my life. And thought I would be academic vice president the rest of my life. And so, where God had me is just where we were. And
Yeah, I love it. So the Hortons were so good with vision. Obviously, just an amazing campus, and of course, under your leadership has just continued to grow, and more buildings. And I was downstairs a little while ago, and I saw the model of where future buildings can go, and kind of some of those plans. There was an excellence that was set forth here. I've always appreciated that. I feel like one of the hallmarks of your leadership has been a personal heart for the students, right? I think the Hortons, I know they had that, but they were so wrapped up with, we got to get this thing off the ground. There's a lot to do. I think there was a lot of the behind the scenes that certainly happens now, but had to have really happened then. I think one of the things you've really done an amazing job with is just making sure you're connected with the students, making sure they feel appreciated. I think it makes moms and dads feel better that, hey, we've got an administration that's taking care of them. Where does that come from? Is part of that because you were a student and so you kind of understand what it's like on the other side?
in part, understand Dr. and Mrs. Horton were the founders of the ministry. And we're talking, ultimately, they started the original school in 54 and then the college in 74. These were difficult times to start from nothing. It took a level of tenacity and grit and stamina to found the place and to get the thing moving. And they never had children. And so they poured themselves wholly into the place. And, this was their baby. The Lord had given them something that could be uncompromisingly theirs. And so they built it. But without the benefit of children, there was another aspect or perspective. And so Denise and I took over in 2012, and here we had been students here. And there were always things about the college that we wish had served us in a little different way or a better way,
Yeah.
a personal way. And then we had children, and they came up and were of college age. And as parents, we were seeing that, I wish the college could do this for my own children.
Mm-hmm.
So as a former student and as parents of students, the Lord gave us the privilege of insight into making those kind of necessary
Yes.
adjustments, changes, and personal touches.
Yeah.
Now my children have grown, and they're bringing us grandbabies, and I hope for them someday to have a better college experience than I had or my kids had.
Yeah.
And so as the Lord's given us the privilege to talk into the lives of our own kids, now, quite honestly, I'm happy to pour that same care into the lives of this generation of students. And then I see them as my own, and they're not, but the Lord's given us the privilege to serve them in a way that makes their college experience better.
You see it differently when you're a parent. So we came through here, of course. Our oldest son, Chase, graduated, met his wife here. Matter of fact, they both work security here. They were criminal justice, and they're officers now in Greensboro, North Carolina. By the way, Chase has not had his first full year yet out of the academy. His wife, Maggie, who's a graduate here, just finished her first full year, and she was the Rookie of the Year in the Greensboro Police Department this year. So shout out to the criminal justice program here. And but it does change the way you see things. When I was a student here, that's one thing. When I saw my son here, you think about it a little bit differently. Our students would even make a big deal over probably things that seemed little to you, but it felt very personal to them. When you came on, and I think maybe one of the first things you did was you sent donuts to every room, and I remember hearing from our students that wow, we feel seen, we feel noticed, and you know what I mean. He's thinking about us. I even little things like that.
Isn't it true, though? Every mom and dad loves to give things to their kids, and they love for that to be appreciated by their children. And it's really the same in a college family community like this. And you give them things, and you just express that you care for them more than just the transaction of a college enrollment or an academic program of study, but that God's called us here for whatever reason right now into this community to serve together, to grow together, and more than just academically. And so that's a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You are responsible for so many things here. I mean, you've got Abeka Academy, you've got PCA, you've got Pensacola Christian College, just a number of things I'm not even mentioning right now you're responsible for. We're talking to leaders in our church. There's a lot of people that are investing into people, and we've got life group leaders, children's Sunday school teachers, staff members, and we've got different leadership at our church. What would you say would be some ways to invest in the next generation? We just came out of just a terrible September 10th, just a terrible time with the Charlie Kirk assassination. And that would not have affected maybe your and my generation as much as it is affecting this younger generation. And they've lost a significant voice. We've lost a significant voice in Christianity for sure. What are some keys or principles, or what would you say? Here's how you reach into another generation.
It was the Charlie Kirk incident was such an impact on this generation. Speaks to the fact that this generation is highly connected to things that matter to them in ways that maybe a previous generation it didn't. So their political awareness, their cultural awareness, a desire, an apparent desire for things spiritual, to have a voice. And I'm not just talking about being an activist, I'm talking about having a voice for biblical worldview and what is right morally, ethically. So when you think about this generation and their high desire to make a difference, to be part of something that's bigger than themselves. It is something that is an opportunity to speak into as a college and as a college president. All of that to say, providing opportunities for this generation to take ownership for something and to be part of something is very important.
Yeah.
You know, when we were college students, we just basically went to class and did what we were told, and we didn't have opportunities to take ownership for as much of our college experience. So we had, at least I did, had the experience that I was there to watch, observe, and see the benefit of something rather than owning and making something out of it. Well, one of our primary objectives is to give students ownership for their own experience. So giving them opportunities for their own outreach or worship times or even political involvement and having a voice in something beyond the college experience. So that's one thing that I would highly engage students in, opportunities where they can own it.
Not do it for them, but
That's right.
last night I was in Overflow,
Yes.
and it's a
Great example.
student-led. Yes, student-led. They get together every Tuesday evening. It's a student-led student organization, and they pray and they have a devotional. And it was really a neat opportunity just to be able to sit down with them and see what they're doing. We've got a lot of people in our church that we're trying to, you want as many people taking ownership as possible. So you have so much you have on your plate right now. You can't do everything. Matter of fact, the higher up you go in any organization, the less you can have your hands on everything. So when you talk about empowering people and engaging people that you've delegated something to, what would you say? Maybe there's a leader listening right now that needs to delegate some things, but we're all no, I've got to do it. I do it the best, and you're hindering the entire organization. What are some keys of you're not micromanaging, you're empowering? What's the difference? What does that look like?
Yes. Well, to delegate is not to do as much as you can do and then give the rest away, but to delegate is to do what you should be doing, what should come to your table.
It's a great
And
definition.
then the things that other people can do are those things that must be delegated.
Okay. Can you say that again? That was really good. Delegating is not
doing everything you can do,
Yeah.
and then whatever's left over, give to somebody else.
Yeah.
Delegating is limiting yourself to do the things that you should do,
Yeah.
that you need to own, and then those things that other people can do.
Yeah.
That's what you empower them to do.
That's a great way to put that, because I think we all feel like, hey, I've got my limit of what I can be busy with, and so I need to take all my time. What does that do? If you're limiting yourself, if you go all the way to your limit, what does that do?
Yeah, well, your entire life then, you're living at your limit, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you're always extending yourself and always wishing for another hour in the day. Where if you can focus on those things that are most important. I just spoke to the students in chapel last week, and my whole message was put first things first. And the illustration is to fill a jar with the most, you put the big rocks in first and then the smaller things in after. But if you put the sand in first and then the gravel, you're never going to get all the big rocks in. So the idea is put those big things into your life that really are the most impact, the things that you need to handle in a organization, the things that need to come to your desk. You put those big things in first, and then let the other things fill in around it. So that's, to me, what it looks like is making sure you understand the things that you need to do. And
I had a pastor years ago. This is probably 12 years ago. We were a younger church, and he told we sat down, and he said, Tate, I know you love to move chairs and grab tables, and it's great. I'm glad that you're willing to do anything, but you should do what only the pastor can do. Yeah. But when he said that, I thought, well, yeah, but I want to lead
by
I wanna
example. Right,
yes, I want to lead by example.
Yes,
So I tell our staff sometimes, yes, we all have to be willing to do anything.
That's right.
And we're all willing to do anything. But our organization, and obviously this is on a totally different planet as far as scale is concerned, but we're getting to a place where, okay, we've got to lead leaders. We've got to hand these things off. And that's really, why do you think that's so hard for us to hand things off?
Well, there is a mindset too, and this is a good one, of servant leadership. So, I mean, I'm not beneath washing your feet. Jesus washed our feet. And the illustration is keen that if you're going to be chiefest, you must be the servant of all. But to understand that God's given us 24 hours in a day, and to be stewards of that, we've got to make the most of our 24 hours. I think that's what's most difficult, is because we don't want to seem like we're above,
Yes.
because we're not.
Yes.
I'll pick up trash and paint the walls with them too, but
Yeah.
and have done so.
But at the end of the day, is that the best use
That's right.
of
My
your
time.
time,
That's
right?
right.
Because somebody else also can paint walls, but not someone else can lead the organization.
And in Matthew 25, Jesus gives us talents, each according to his ability. So the guy that got 5 talents wasn't expected to have the same outcome as the guy who had 1 talent. They both just had to increase and improve the value of what God gave them. And so I've got 5 talents, and that's my job to take care of my 5 talents. And I don't have to do the talents of somebody else.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Why? I think sometimes it's hard. I know in the beginning of my ministry, you hear so much, oh boy, you're such a hard worker, and you're the one at the hospital, and there's something intoxicating about that.
That's right.
You know, we like to be looked at a certain way, and if you're not careful, that's what's going to stymie the growth of the organization.
But there's balance here, so let's be honest that you don't want to get to a position where you're in an ivory tower and you're only seen to be able to do these elevated things.
Yes.
So you do look for opportunities to connect in other ways.
Yeah, there you go. One more question. When you look to hand something off to somebody, what are you looking for? What stands out to you that generally when you're going to hand something off, there's a concern. Are they going to be able to do this well? Are they up to it? What are you looking for in somebody that you want to hand responsibility to?
Well, obviously the word trust is centerpiece. When you're empowering somebody else to do something, you've got to be able to trust them that they can do it. Exodus 18, Jethro's advice to Moses, gives these very clear descriptions of take ye out people and put them over thousands and hundreds and tens, and call out such as men who are, and it gives several attributes. These are the kind of people that you're looking for, people who are honest, who are trustworthy, who are not covetous. They're not there looking for power. It's not a power grab. And people who are skilled, they can actually do something. So when I'm looking for somebody, one, I want to know, can they do it? So I'll look at their history. I'll look at their history of responsibility. And if they've been faithful and done things well in a smaller thing, then I'll give them a little bit more responsibility. And if they're trustworthy, they'll shoot straight with me. And so they have a high integrity, then I can trust them. And so what I'm looking for are those kind of attributes more than productivity, because productivity will come when the attributes are there. And then I read a book once by a guy, in fact, Baptist Hospital, who's now right across the street from us, formerly had a CEO named Al Stubblefield. He wrote a book about how he raised the hospital under his leadership from just an average hospital to one of the highest, like top 1% in the nation in customer satisfaction. And one of the things that he said in his book was that he operated on a tight, loose, tight mentality, meaning that he would be tight on the front end on expectations. This is what I expect out of you. Okay. So when you delegate to somebody, be real clear on your expectations. Be loose on how they get it done.
Okay.
So don't micromanage them.
Yeah.
They're closer to the work than you are, so let them go and let them get it done.
May do it differently than you do.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But then be tight on the accountability part on the other end. So this is what we agreed to up front. Now, did you deliver like we said
yeah.
that you would deliver? So a tight, loose, tight mentality
That's really good. Yeah.
helps the
I
balance.
think the hard part of that for me is I think sometimes in church work, well, I don't want to do this, or I don't have time to do this, so I hate to ask somebody else to do this. And so it's almost like, hey, listen, whatever you do is great. Just take it, and just do it. And then you're going to get frustrated because they're not going to do the job that the way you wanted it done. And so they say clarity is kindness. So much better to sit down right at the beginning and say, hey, here's the expectations. Let me be as clear as I can on what we're trying to accomplish. But I do love that the loose side of that is, but you might do it differently than me. Your gifting is different than mine, and I would imagine in an organization this big, there are times that people do something different ways that you don't even love, and you might do it differently. You let that go?
Yeah,
That's loose?
it is, to the extent that if the outcome serves our people the best, then it's fine. So another book, and I can't remember which one, it may be Good to Great, says let the best idea win. It doesn't have to be your idea.
Your idea, yeah.
Just let the best idea win.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Very good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate what you're doing. And this place means so much to Debbie and myself. We're both graduates. We traveled as reps for this ministry. And we've just seen over and over again in our lives the fruit of what this ministry has put into our lives and our children's lives. And now we've got church families that are being benefited by it as well. And so I really appreciate you taking a few minutes and sitting down with me today.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Castleview, listen, let me encourage you, check out the college. If you've got kids, you ought to really be thinking about a Christian college, somewhere that when these young people are graduated from high school and they're going out, really that's one of the most important times of decision in their entire lives. And to have them in a place that they have Bible principles and preaching and chapels and other believers and a heart that is similar to yours for these children is just such a benefit. So thank you for watching this episode of the Castleview Baptist Church podcast, and we will see you again next week.